Hello, I am Alvin Wong, and I am from Hong Kong. I am a rising 11th grader studying at the International Christian School. Music has always been my hobby, and I have recently founded this initiative uh, called March to Your Beat, which is a music initiative to help those with special needs.
Hi, Inspired Youth Summit. My name is Bella. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Hong Kong. I currently study at the Canadian International School of Hong Kong and I'm an incoming senior. After high school, I want to study law in the UK, and in my free time, I really love to cook, and I'm also the founder of Thalassemia Hong Kong. I'm also very passionate about the Sustainable Development Goals, so I'm very excited to see what's to come.
Hello everyone, my name is Lavanya Chutke. I am 16 years old and I'm currently in the 10th grade. I go to the Canadian International School of Hong Kong, and the stuff that I like to do, I enjoy all things art related, from theatrical to visual. I enjoy creative writing and reading.
Hello there, my name is Leah Elizabeth Dicom. I'm 17 years old and I am from Malaysia. Right now, I am studying in pre-university under the IB program. I like to draw, read, and play with my Rubik's Cube.
Bulavinaka, my name is Vasemaca from the Fiji Islands, and I'm 16 years old. I'm a pure science student and currently in year 11. My hobbies include singing, socializing with friends, and teaching children moral values every week before this pandemic occurred. Vinaka.
Hi, my name is Zoe Beaulieuasselin and I'm 17 years old, living in Sydney, Australia. I am originally French and Canadian. I'm currently in Year 12, my final year of high school, and for my university studies I'm hoping to pursue art curatorship and history. My hobbies include surfing, being in the ocean, and watching Mamma Mia on repeat.
I'd like to first off start with thanking every one of you for joining this summit. You know, you're taking out time out of your busy schedules, I assume. And shout out to Harli, because she's actually up at 3 a.m. there. I thought she was in Hong Kong. What we're actually going to be doing is I guess a panel style discussion. I don't know if everyone's aware of what type of discussion that is, but I guess a discussion where everyone's open to answering and sharing their experiences or thoughts. So, we don't want you to hold back. There are no right or wrong answers here. And we just want to get, the voice of the youth. So this is what it's all about. So the first theme of today is about the impact of the pandemic, COVID-19, on learning and your achievement in school. So what I mean by achievement is, your assessments, your results for your tests, your exams. And that's the theme that we're going to be speaking about today. And so the first question is how has school been for all of you? Were you most of you, doing it offline or online? Were you actually meeting your teachers? Yeah, so maybe just an intro, just to see what everyone was really going through. So anyone could just jump in and start. All right, Zoe wins.
I'm living in Australia, and so far we've been pretty lucky with the pandemic, apart from recently where we've gone into strict lockdown. We've been onto lockdown for 4 weeks now, I think. And we were kind of on off at the beginning of last year for lockdown, and I feel like it's very vital to have a face-to-face connection with your teachers, because online things can be misinterpreted and all confusing and everything. So I think it's important to have face-to-face teaching, and it is very it's very impactful towards your assessment. I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks this, but I feel like it is very impactful, because you're missing that key vital part of learning, especially if you're a visual learner, or if you're learn by listening to others. I feel like lots of people did get impacted by.
I see. So how long were you doing it online for?
So last year we went online for 6 weeks, and now we've been online for 2 weeks, but we had 2 weeks in lockdown during the holidays as well. So.
Interesting. And anyone else would like to share their experiences?
Is it okay if I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, if I'm being really honest with you. I completely agree with Zoe there when she's saying that face-to-face is really important. We definitely did a lot. I live in Hong Kong, so there's been like, it comes in waves. Like we've had the first wave, second wave, third wave. So sometimes we'll be online. Like the beginning of the year, we started online, and it was like really scary because start of a new year, you have no idea what the expectations are, what your teachers want from you, how you guys are going to like mesh well, like whether you'll mesh well together or not. And then October went back. It was actually really, really great because we were just really yearning for that social connection, and then only to go back to online again. And that sort of just happened, and this back and forth, online, offline, kind of, or online, in person, until the end of the year. So yeah.
Wow. Sounds like a real roller coaster. I think it was quite similar here in Malaysia, especially with I wasn't in school, so I wouldn't know. But I mean, I know that it's been, open and closed for a really long time. And I mean, my niece, for example, she was in the 7th grade and she just got to know her friends, and she was out of school for like so many months. So she kind of didn't know them as well anymore. So she had to start all over again. What challenges do you find when you're learning online, when you're, on your own, trying to start your day in school online? How challenging is that?
I think it's quite challenging, especially with Wi-Fi issues.
It's a good point.
I think we all can relate to that because every few minutes there's like a Wi-Fi connection issue, or maybe like, I don't know, maybe the link is not working. I think we all can relate.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating, especially if you want to just get the lesson done and over with, and then suddenly, boom, oh, you're not connected, and all that usual stuff.
Yeah. Wow. And how do you find that it impacts your learning? All that stop, stop, go.
I think for me, at least, it has impacted my learning because I've missed quite a lot, like what my teachers have taught in the class, and then I'll have to like keep asking my classmates like, what did I learn? And it can be a bit of a hassle as well. So
Wow, it sounds like you're definitely missing out on some important lessons. So like I guess maybe people in the rural areas, for example, in Malaysia, they have maybe they have problems with their internet. I don't know about everyone else here, but did you find that connectivity was a huge issue? Like, I mean, if your internet connection was bad, you're already going to be disadvantaged and you're going to be left behind.
Yeah, I think there were times that maybe not necessarily connection, but like I think just getting the Zoom links, like there have been times I've missed whole entire lessons because communication between teachers and students weren't very good. And then you join the class, someone's audio wouldn't be working, someone's camera wouldn't be working, and then we would actually spend like majority of the lesson trying to actually get those technical difficulties solved, and we wouldn't actually end up learning anything.
I see. Wow, that's a huge loss. Like how it's really impacted your learning, apart from connectivity, but just the fact that you can't really see your teacher in person. Because I know that some people really actually start learning after the class ends. They'll go up to the teacher and have a discussion with them, and I guess their manners, you can actually really learn from their manners as well, from actually seeing them in person. So I don't know how that's really impacted everyone else.
I just want to share a little bit. I do acknowledge that the internet connection has been a huge issue, but I found another issue that was very, very important when I was learning online, and that issue is the lack of interaction with nature. I have noticed, because I've actually looked up a recent CDC study, that there are 2/5 of US adults feeling really, really impacted by a lack of connection with nature. It affects people's mental health. It affected my mental health and affected my learning as well, because I feel like with a lack of sunlight or with a lack of interaction with plants or lack of exercise outdoors, you feel very, very clumped up at home. And it really, really does take a huge toll on my emotions and ultimately my academic standards as well, because it's much harder to learn that way. And I think many people would share my view about this.
That's a really good point. I don't think I would have thought about that on top of my head. So thank you very much for that contribution. I think that's so important. Yeah.
I feel like I know lots of people have kind of like leading on from the point said before, a lot of stopping and going. So 1 week we're online, 1 week we're not. I feel like it's really impacted. We've gotten used to a routine because I feel like lots of people feel comfortable when they're in a routine. And if that routine's constantly changing and you don't know, you're going into the unknown, it's really hard to adapt. And plus you have your studies, like all your social life has changed, all the academic work has changed. I find it really hard to kind of feel a sense of direction when you're like in traffic, stop like at a red light and then you can go and then you have to stop again. If you guys can understand what I'm saying with that.
Yeah, I don't know about the rest of you, but I can definitely relate. I think this problem would affect not only the teenagers as well, but I think even myself. I'm 27 years old and it still affects me to this day. And I think Elmarie would agree with me as well. What about the people in Fiji, Rahul and Vasemaca and Baylian? How does that really affect learning? Is there like something that the Fijians would really complain about, like your schoolmates and say the general public?
We didn't start like online classes last year. We just received like notes, like little bit notes, and for 3 months I've been just bored. I've done it like in 1 week and I've rather 2 months trying to find something to do.
Wait, so you haven't started? You don't do online classes?
No, we just do one, like
okay.
1 hour.
1 hour, and then the rest of the time you're supposed to work on your own.
Yeah.
Was that the same with Baylian and Vasemaca?
I know Val goes to a different school to me, but I go to a private school, so we have online classes.
Yeah.
But the rest of the schools in Fiji, I'm not sure how their online classes work. I know that a lot of them didn't have it, and the Ministry of Education just posts notes online for them to do.
Online classes are optional. If you want to do it, you can. But if you don't want it, it's okay.
I see. Wow.
I think in Fiji, like only like public school are given out worksheets, whereas in private school they attend online classes.
Okay. So there's a big, I guess, a big gap there between the public and the private, and that might really impact, I guess, let's say, admit the students for university for the next years.
I think the reason why private school are given public schools are given worksheet because I think most of the students didn't have access to technology.
Yeah.
And resources. Yeah.
I think that's the same. It's a similar case in some parts of Malaysia as well. Like some areas with bad connectivity, they would just give them worksheets, and maybe some teachers would actually travel to each student's house to give them worksheets. I mean, what do you think worked well with having online? We probably learned so much, and we don't really have to travel so much for a class anymore.
I would say maybe that it's a little bit like, it's a little weird, a weird kind of positive, but like just, I guess you don't take that social interaction for granted anymore. Like I noticed that people just tended to be a lot more gentle and a lot more kind when like talking to, like when interacting with others. Well, at least in my case, I'm not sure if others would agree, but people just really seem to value their friendships and want to make new friends more. And I guess by extension also try new things. Like I know like not just me, but other people in like Hong Kong in my school, they've just been trying a lot more hobbies and more activities like together and like individually. So that's what I would say is a positive.
That's a nice reflection there. I think, they have probably more time to reflect on, you know, what they want to do in life and like, you know, um, how to act with people. I think that's a really good point. Rahma, what do you think? What is the best thing for you studying online? You don't have to wake up early in the morning, so early in the morning anymore, maybe, perhaps?
So for me, I actually live quite far from my school. So when we had to learn offline, I had to like wake up really early and I would like arrive really early too. So with the online learning, I wouldn't have to wake up as early and I think my schedule has gotten more flexible. So I think that would be it.
I used to go to uni. I think that really saved me a lot of time. And I believe, honestly, I think for me, I think some classes are best held online. Like, you know, sometimes you go all the way there and you spend about like 2-3 hours of your time combined with the travel, maybe that's an extra hour. And you felt like, wow, I could have done all of this online. How do you think it's fair, that, how you were assessed in school, especially for students who are in the last year trying to get into uni or, their last year of school?
Yeah, I actually do have a strong opinion about how people are assessed in school. In my opinion, I like the current method of assessment, but I think it can be further improved. For example, I understand that there are people at my school and at other schools as well with learning disabilities, or maybe like people at schools that are not as good as academic subjects as the others are. And in my opinion, like broadening the assessment systems would definitely help different types of people thrive, because we always see the same group of people thriving on the assessments, and some people, the assessments just don't come easily to them. I'm just thinking, if we incorporate technology into it, or if we incorporate some form of if we modify the assessment to be a little bit more interactive, maybe some form of assessment that will help change the world in some form of way, or some form of teamwork or collaboration. I think that this is a broader way of thinking about assessments. So whilst I do agree that we should have a fair assessment system, I think that the best form of assessment system is something that is more inclusive, so that people, different types of people, can thrive in different forms of assessments.
That's a very good point. I think a lot of people would agree with you, and I think a lot of people are actually trying to work towards that. But it's a very difficult journey, and I think for you to actually be thinking about this at this age is actually quite inspiring. I think I would be very inspired if I was your age and I heard my peer talking about this. So, keep it up. I hope you can do something in the future for the kids in your country at least. So has anyone actually been affected by has anyone had really bad results compared to their normal years just because of the pandemic?
I could speak on I guess behalf of my school community a little bit. So how it works in our school is that from grade 9 we start having exams. Now I just completed the 10th grade. So both times that people in our school had exams was during COVID. So the final exam was COVID. So that was the first time we had the opportunity to experience exams. So for most of us who were in our school for a really long time, this was kind of our first opportunity for an exam. So I would say that results weren't as good as people were expecting. I can definitely speak for myself that it was not as high as I would have liked it to be, especially the first time over, because I wasn't really used to that setting, and having COVID as sort of the setting while taking exams really just kind of hindered results. So that's, I guess, my point of view on it. Just that's how it affected assessments here.
Curious actually to know about Indonesia, how has the assessments been like? Did they still do it? Did they do it online, or did they just judge you based on your overall performance throughout the year? Or is it still the standardized, high stakes test at the end of the semester?
So in my case, when the COVID broke out in Indonesia, I was in my last year of middle school. So Indonesia, we had like kind of a national exam. And because of the pandemic, that exam was actually canceled. And it was like replaced with like a school exam, which was held online too. So yeah, all the exams after that were held online. And for my school, to like prevent students from like cheating or anything, we use 2 devices, one for doing the actual test and the other for like supervising. And we also have this thing, I think it's kind of like a you would call it an honesty oath. So like it's just like to make sure that the students don't cheat and like, yeah, just those things.